This is episode 0003 of Gary's Glorious Golden Nuggets, where we believe success leaves clues. And today our guest is Hanna Rewaldt. She is a 25-year successful corporate business manager for the energy sector in Denmark. And she missed a lot of holidays, a lot of weekends, and realized that chasing a 70-hour-a-week career was detrimental to family life. And so she gave it all up to develop her own online business and to follow her dreams and her passions. And so I want to welcome you today to Gary's Glorious Golden Nuggets, Hanna.
Thank you so much, Gary. It's nice to be here.
Well, it's good to have you here. Now, Hanna, the first question I love to ask people is, what is the one thing you wish you had known when you began your online entrepreneurship?
I think being an engineer, I kind of like to have a fairly structured overview of where I'm going. I think from 25 years of being really oriented around targets and where am I going, I do think I was a bit lost sometimes because I didn't really know exactly what the path was. So I would have liked to have an overview of what am I going to go through and learn, and what am I supposed to have set up in order to get there. I think also some inputs to where I could get the support if I need it. And then I also think like some advice to not rush through the phases, that would take some months just to get the fundamental understanding in place, because I thought, I'm just going to get through this and I'm, just going to go on and do it. So I think I was rushing things, but I ended up wasting a lot of time because I had to go back, obviously, and get it done. And it also cost me some frustration down the line, which, would have been nice to just have a more relaxed, you could say, work pace. So the most important advice is to slow down and be careful with your investment. Just do little investment at the time when you're ready, and ask other people for inputs before you make some decisions to invest. Yeah, I would have liked that.
Yeah, it'd been nice if you had an idea about the fact that, well, maybe be a little bit more prudent on your investments in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. People get really excited and say, "Oh, that will happen,
Yeah.
and that will happen." Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you start to follow your bliss. You start to get really excited and you kind of let the logic aspect go. Yeah.
You just get carried away and you just want to get there, and you just look at the success, but you forget all the steps to get there, right?
Yeah, that's true. So what would you consider your biggest failure, and what have you learned from it in your progress?
I think the fact that I rushed into advertising, I was glad that I actually quickly created and put my ad out there, because it's good to get past that barrier, just put it out there. But as I was not really very experienced in how to setting up the ad campaigns, to mind my cost and be careful and not have too big losses, while still getting that experience in terms of how to find your audience and how to get the settings and all that, because there is a lot of learning for a while. That made me actually procrastinate for a long period of time, because it had cost me quite an amount of money. And even though I was still creating something, I think I ended up going round and round in circles in the end, because I was suddenly a bit reluctant and afraid and I was not really sure. So I would have liked to have the right help to getting my initial campaigns to learn and get data whilst not overspending.
To have some kind of a mentor along the way who could have just said, you need to be careful about this. I think it's wonderful that you just jumped right in, though.
Yes. I will also say it's a good thing to just get your ad out there. Otherwise, you will probably also be procrastinating and not really get it there. because there's definitely a lot of learning to put it out there, and it is a great thing to do, but you just need to mind your cost while learning, right? So that's the thing. Yeah.
So for you, part of what you deem as problematic was the fact that you weren't paying attention to the cost. You jumped right into some things that you really weren't prepared to jump in, and that left you with a bit of feeling a little shy to progress forward because you'd had a kind of a hard hit in the beginning financially from your excitement.
I think it's because as well, like we talked about in the other question before, it's like you're so excited and think, because I have my savings to start with, and I thought, well, I can afford to get this, to have this, to invest in learning and all that. But, you know, it's better to save with your money, to have a bit longer time to learn, because you don't really know how long it's going to take you to get there. And it's also not really worth it wasting that amount of money while you could do it with a lower investment. You do need to invest, but you can keep it at a really low level where it doesn't really hurt you so much, right?
Right. So what advice would you give someone who was wanting to pursue an online career like yours?
Well, I would say, you know, build a network. It's really a great way to have others, to have like sparring and you could say mentoring with. Find groups where there are some experienced people in there who can help, because people are generally extremely helpful and really sharing their experience. So that's really one of the major advantages there. It's not difficult to find someone who can give you good advice and who will share what they've learned down the line. So I will say, put yourself out there, get a network, find some like-minded people, and even a group of people who are maybe on the same level as you or pursuing the same kind of business path that you want to pursue. So build that little network. Don't get lost in too many different webinars and strategies from too many different people. That was one of the things that I did. I was like confused out of my wits, because some say go this way and this is how you need to do it, another said this, go that way. I was like, well, what's right, what's wrong? I got confused in is it the ad that's right, or is it my campaign? I think it's also good to find a certain group of experienced mentors that you follow and you stay on that track. Find a few people that you connect and trust, you're aligned with, and keep focused, because you can so easily get distracted with all the different webinars and all the different messages. You gotta also trust your instinct a bit. You know, you have to believe in yourself. If you feel it's not really right, it probably isn't, right?
So trust your gut. It's really important there.
I will say I've always been like that. I've always, you know, trusted my instinct. Also as a manager and as an engineer for many years, it's like, I relied a lot on my instinct, because I think we have a lot stronger instinct than we actually believe we do. I mean, you can go and find evidence around your own instincts, but there's probably usually something about it.
I think you've kind of brushed against it. So let me just make this segue. So what are the resources that you have best found helpful to you as an entrepreneur?
Well, as I said before, the connection with like-minded people, I found a little group of SFM members that has been a source of, you could say, good ideas, good feedback, good inspiration, but also it's hard to really put words onto it, but there's something about helping you believe in the journey and not feel alone on your journey. That's really, I think, has been important for me. And I would also say the basic modules, that's a really good resource to get, you know, set and structured and get through the beginning. and some of the training resources and the features found within the Mentors platform. Some of the tools that I found, like Filmora, is a really easy to learn tool for editing videos for newbies.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some certain programs like Convertray, really easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
But do not get distracted with a propaganda department. And then my referral partner has been really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the, you would say, technical support and copywriting resources that I found when actually building a network within the community.
So what you're finding is you go in as a solo entrepreneur, and you get connected to a community of like-minded people.
Yes.
Who you find the ones that you select within that community, create your own smaller brain trust.
Yeah.
And utilizes each other's skills as well as technologies to leverage yourselves. Excellent. Excellent. I think there's a lot of golden nuggets so far in this show. I'm really excited right here.
That's good. Yeah.
So let me ask you, who are the three people that have helped you the most along the way?
Yeah, I assume you mean in my business journey as an entrepreneur. And we'll say like my referral partner has been a really good support, both in terms of how to, and I didn't use enough of him probably in the beginning to avoid some of the worst mistakes. And he's also been a great support when I've kind of like been low and not really believing in my journey. He's really believed in me, and that has been a help. And then I will say this little group of people, so it's not like one person, but that group is really a great influence to me. It sort of really keeps me there. It's really hard to put words to it, but that's an absolutely amazing group. And then a copywriting resource that I found, Caroline Antonia, has been really good to sort of get me out of the mode of confusion, whether it was this type of ad or it was this kind of flow or it was this kind of, to sort of get there with myself to find how am I going to structure it. That was really helpful, I would say.
Stepping in from the corporate world to your own business online. So you're leaving a brick and mortar world to go into something that's just totally digital. And as an engineer, I imagine a lot of the technical stuff wasn't all that bothersome. Whereas we get people all the time that walk in that the closest they ever did anything technical in their life was turning on a computer. They never did anything else. And here you are, you're basically saying, look, there's these people, these resources that really stood out to me. And because of them, I'm where I am today. And I think everybody has to realize there's a huge learning curve. As much as technology has made things easier and has allowed you to leverage yourself, doing it alone is such a huge burden.
Yeah, and I do think, honestly, I think most people wouldn't be able to manage if they didn't find a network somewhere online. I will also say, I do think that there are lots of great networks out there online. It's just about what you want. And you can find someone who are doing the same thing, maybe even done it for years and years, that you can connect with. It's the best work environment I've ever worked in. I will say that, because people are so supportive and open and sharing. And it's not difficult to find a network or different networks for different parts of your, you could say, your journey or your business. It really is amazing.
One of the things that many people have recommended or remarked to me is the number of truly altruistic contributors there are in the digital world, especially if they've made it, they want to give back. They want to help. And, and they give of their time far more freely than you'd ever expect. If you've got the right attitude, they want to help you. So that's man, amazing. So let me ask you this. What's the most common myth about your career path that you want to debunk?
You often hear the phrase passive income. And I think as you start with this entrepreneurship, you might have the idea that passive income is like where you don't have to do anything. And that is a total myth. Because I will say, any business, there's no such thing as being completely passive. It's not like a plug and play system that you can just put in place. Everything you will have to learn, you will have to invest time into both the learning and getting it all set up. So what passive income is about is that you can set it up to automate some of the processes. And as you get further, there are things that you can outsource that you don't have to do then. And then you can make your business operate 24/7. So it basically means that it's always open, right? And you don't have to be physically present there to attend the customers directly all the time. So that's what passive income is about. Well, I just wanted to sort of get that established. Passive income doesn't mean you don't have to do anything, but you have more control over your own time. It's a lot more flexible. You can work from anywhere. You can work when it sort of suits you. You can plan your own time, and you don't have to coordinate with all the bosses and all the rest of the business and whatever in all the meetings. I mean, I remember I was going to endless amounts of meetings every day. So my own tasks and all my emails I could do in my own time. So it's like, I don't have that in my own business. So time is a factor here that is really setting you free. And then there's the whole personal freedom about it, that you can do what you believe in and how you believe it should be done, which is really liberating, I would say.
You remind me of a story by Stuart Ross, who's a big name, very successful online entrepreneur, who says that when he started being an online entrepreneur, it was like 6-7 weeks before anything happened for him. Yeah. And he was selling a physical product.
Yeah.
But he was sleeping. And when he woke up, he found that while he was sleeping, his first product sold. It was like $7 or something like that. But the fact that something sold while he slept convinced him that he should never give up.
He was onto something.
Yeah, he was onto something.
Yeah.
And that's literally so hard for people to understand, because in a brick and mortar business, when you close your store, nothing sells. And the other aspect of it is every business has a niche.
Yes, that's right.
You know, energy sector, our niche is we supply energy to people, right? You know, and we got to transmit it, we got to get there, deliver it, and generate it, and all that other kind of cool stuff that we do behind the scenes. They don't care. They just got to pay the bill because they got the lights on.
Yeah.
And in this kind of a business, you do all this work maybe once or twice, and then it becomes automated. So in the beginning, it's like you're working hours and hours and hours and hours, and you're sitting there thinking like, how can they say that this is only a couple hours a week?
Yeah, so that I think is a really important point, that in the beginning you do actually put a lot of effort into it. But I mean, down the line, as you automate some of the processes, it gives you more time for the creative side, the fun stuff, right? Where you develop new things and you have new ideas and you say, this is what I want to do. And then you can set it up again for automation and so on.
You are truly the creator.
Yeah,
that's amazing, huh? That's exciting. That's exciting. One of the things that I remember, the very first person I interviewed who said the myth they wanted to debunk the most was the fact that they were lucky.
Oh.
You know, they said that luck has nothing to do with this whole process. It is hard work and keeping the correct mindset until you achieve. If you came to me and said, I want to step in your shoes, Gary, because this is the question I want to answer, what would that question be?
I would say, what is the most important part of this journey? I think it's important to remember what you want it to achieve. Most people who start on this journey to become an independent entrepreneur have something they want to achieve with this. And you got to remember what that is throughout your journey. What is your goal? Is that independence? Is that the personal freedom? What is it? Keep that in mind throughout. When some of the days you feel lost or far from your target, keep it in mind. And as you said before, because secondly is really the persistency is what's going to take you there. It requires persistency, and also through the days when you feel a bit lost and frustrated and you think, oh, I'm never going to get there, I can't work it out. You will get there if you stick to it. Find your network and, get a pat on the shoulder, a virtual hug, and you will get there. That work will get you there if you do it. So that is really important. Keep your mind on what it was that you wanted to do, and create your business around something you like. Try not to think all the time about the money, but what is it that you want to accomplish with this? Because if it's only the money, you might as well go back to your formal work, your traditional job, or stay there. It's really important to keep in mind what you want.
I would say that online entrepreneurs seem to be far more interested in making sure they give value in their services
that's
or
true.
in their products to people than they are in regards to what the money is. I think because of that, for many of them, the money is phenomenal. Because the people who are accessing their service or their physical product see the huge amount of value that's there.
Exactly. Yeah. I think even some of the ones that get the more successful they get, it's as if they just want to share more and have less focus on the money and more on the sharing and the bringing value to others.
It's a total mindset, because when I worked in corporate world, it was all the bottom line. It was how much profit is this going to bring into us.
That is so true. Yes.
Yeah. And it's almost the reverse. It's like, how much service can I give?
Yeah.
The bottom line is this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it begins to multiply itself in the most strange of ways. But it's really a mindset game. So if somebody's listening to this and they say, I want to get in contact with that woman, how do they get in contact with you?
I have a website called www.hannarewaldt.com, and I've also just started a Facebook site, but I'll provide you some links that you can put perhaps into this so people can connect with me there. I'm just creating a Facebook site called Our Digital Business Development, because I think it's something we co-create kind of a thing, and I think that's really wonderful.
Awesome. We'll be sure to get those into the show notes so that people can have that glorious opportunity. Because, I mean, you just come across as such a genuine, friendly person. I really am enjoying this interview with you.
Thank you so much, Gary.
So Hanna, here's what we do in this show. At the end, towards the end, and that's where we're at right now, I'm going to give you 2 minutes uninterrupted to talk about anything that you want to talk about, anything you want to say. The world will receive this. It's going to go out, and as many people as click on this will hear your 2 minutes. So
all right,
the time is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, I will say, to me, this has been so much more than building a business. This is equally as much about setting myself free, really, and living the life that is truly about being in the journey of life, as I felt my life had become a lot about just getting through it, just getting it over with. And it's like I lost my passions, I lost my interest for life. In the end, I really felt really not enjoying life very much at all. And, I didn't want to stand there on my last day thinking, oh, thank God it's over. I wanted to have a life that was about being able to say, wow, this was absolutely incredible. So I do feel that even though I have days when I think, oh God, this is difficult, and why is something not working or whatever, I find more and more that whole setting myself free, getting in contact with myself again, who I am, what I like and what I want and what I don't want. I want to feel passionate and have interests again. That is really, I can so feel how it's fundamentally changing me or bringing me back to where I should be. And I wish this for anybody. It's the most incredible feeling. It's like you come alive again. I become a better version of myself, and I can feel it with how I connect with other people. I think they respond really positive to me, probably because I have a completely different way about myself now. I am more authentic. I don't try to fit into a particular laid out box of this is how your life is supposed to be. I want to live a life
Fantastic.
where every day counts. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you heard it from Hanna, folks. I can't add anything more to what she has just said. Thank you for attending for our third episode of Gary's Glorious Golden Nuggets.
Well,
Thank you, Hanna, for your wonderful contributions. And we
thank
wish
you
you
so
all the
much.
best of days, and we'll see you in a couple more. Bye.
Right back at you. All the best to all you guys out there. And thank you so much for having me, Gary.